Hello, we are the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. Kamala Harris's running mate, Governor Tim Walz, is a staunch LGBTQ supporter who has coached a football team and helped school students form GSAs, the antithesis of toxic masculinity.
Valentina Gomez, known for anti-LGBTQ rhetoric and extreme tactics, placed 6th in the GOP primary. We are not surprised.
Green Hill High School closes its library to review books for compliance with Tennessee's strict new book banning law.
New book reveals Vice President Kamala Harris's leadership during her 2023 Africa tour, where she stood in support of LGBTQ rights.
Utah becomes the first state to impose a total book ban in schools targeting books with any type of sexual content.
Good evening, y'all. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels. We are proud to announce that YouTube has recognized Queer News Tonight, certified by analytics company vidIQ, that we have had more than 9 million views. It is Thursday, August 8th, 2024, and we are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we are going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ+ evening news show. Whatever happens unique in the queer news, you will see it and hear it.
Hotspots Magazine, happening on Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the queer community. Our mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ+ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ+ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
In 2024, our magazine is celebrating 40 years in the LGBTQ+ experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the queer and broader community.
All right, let's meet tonight's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome first Dr. Edward Summers. He is the Executive Director of Pridelines, Miami's LGBTQ Community Center. He has served as a primary therapist and program director at Eye Care Treatment Center in West Palm Beach. He was also the founder and CEO of the New York-based nonprofit, The Thinkubator. Hey, Dr. Edwards, how's it going?
Good. It's good to be on with you. It's been over a year, I think. I think my first time I was on this show was when I was on with you. So we haven't been on over a year. So it's been a minute. So it's good to be on with you. One quick shout out, Pridelines. We have turned 42 years this year. We're celebrating our gala on August 17th in Coral Gables Golf and Country Club. So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a very interesting one, given that we're celebrating 42 years. We are honoring some great honorees, including Lady Bunny, not for her political stance, but for all the advocacy work she's done for our community. We're also celebrating organizations like the Our Fund Foundation and Miami Foundation. And so it's going to be a fantastic time. It's going to be a big disco inferno. And we have an announcement coming this week of our host. We all know this person, but it's going to come to no surprise. But we are excited for this person to host. So we'll announce that probably tomorrow.
You're teasing it.
It's going to be a big, so the speeches are meant to be really short. We'll celebrate our accomplishments, but it's really meant to be a celebration, of just everything that we've been able to accomplish over the last 42 years. And in particular, over the last year, we've had a huge transformation, quite frankly, with Pridelines. We went from, losing our center to having almost 4 buildings this year already.
Wow.
So,
you're killing it.
So
Pridelines is killing it. Yeah. Everyone check it out. Support the great work that Pridelines is doing. It's been incredible and such an anchor to our institution, to our community.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Now let's welcome Greg Shapiro, an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Greg is the author of 2 short story collections and 7 books of poetry. He's an entertainment journalist whose celebrity interviews and reviews run in a variety of print and online publications. Hey, Greg.
Hello, y'all. I actually interviewed a very special celebrity today. I had the pleasure of interviewing the brilliant and funny Matteo Lane.
Oh, wow.
And
He has a show tomorrow or tonight.
He's cute,
Well,
too.
he's going to be here in September.
September.
He's coming to the Broward Center in September, and he's doing a huge national tour. So go to his website and check it out. And
That's great.
we had a lot of laughs. He's really quite wonderful.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
I'm living through you.
Yes.
Wow.
Next, let's welcome Nico Callis. He is a passionate learner and leader. He loves connecting with people, exploring new places, and creating meaningful memories. Nico is currently pursuing an MBA in marketing. Hey!
Yes. Hey guys. I'm
Hey.
glad to be back and honored to be talking with some iconic faces.
Yeah.
Stop that, girl.
Next, let's welcome Larry Farver. Larry has over 20 plus years of experience in human resources, acting, film, radio, TV, live events, you name it, parade float design, production, and casting. You do it all. He is an advocate for LGBTQ plus rights, and he is proud to be living the dream here in Wilton Manors. I love that. Serving on a city advisory board and ongoing civic project initiatives as a dedicated volunteer. Larry, South Florida Mustangs, it's a premier LGBTQ square dance club. They announced it's a September schedule here in Wilton Manors. I hear you're planning on wearing it's a little birdie told me, not the hat you're wearing.
Yes, ma'am.
Some country western attire. Tell us.
Yeah, not my typical daily duds. So, I love when we can embrace some new things that are coming to our community.
Yeah.
And South Florida Mustangs embraces all inclusivity. They have square dances that are specific to our community, as well as ones that are all inclusive across the communities abroad and supporting allies. So I think it's wonderful.
It is.
I would encourage you, if you're interested, certainly just Google southfloridamustangs.org. They also have another specific website locally, which is iagsdc.org. They will be having a schedule Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 o'clock. Right now, I understand the classes are full, but you can go as a spectator. So I plan on going this evening at 8 o'clock. It's at Richardson Park in Wilton Manors on the Drive. And it should be fantastic. I'm excited.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Do a little tush push, whatever they call it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
And of course, this is tonight's lead anchor, Dr. Julio Capo Jr. He is a board member of the Stonewall National Museum Archives and Library. He's a history professor at Florida International University and the author of the book, Welcome to Fairyland, Queer Miami Before 1940. Julio, Vizcaya's Pool Grotto, a behind-the-scenes guided tour, is on August 9th. Tell me, what's happening?
So I love Vizcaya. Vizcaya is doing incredible work. Also, a little plug, I'm their scholar in residence this year.
Oh,
So
wow.
I hang out there and do research for them all the time. And one of the cool things they're doing on August 9th, which is like tomorrow, right? But they do this like once every 3 or 4 months. They open up their indoor pool, which is the grotto, and it's stunning. I mean, this was built in the 1910s, and like very few people get to, and it's stunning. It's so gorgeous. And it's like a private tour, and it's just so beautiful. It's worth checking out. There's a picture of it. I'm obsessed with it. Like if I could just live in that grotto, I would. 'Cause that would be
gorgeous.
That sounds amazing.
So
Oh my
check
God.
it out. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really, really cool. And it's very rare that you get a glance to.
Oh, that's great.
All right. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight. And this evening, we begin with the queer headlines. I had to change to the LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of Queer News for Thursday, August 8th, 2024. First this evening, let's queer up politics. From high school GSA advisor and football coach to Harris's VP candidate. In a rousing rally in Philadelphia, Vice President Kamala Harris introduced Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate, highlighting his long-standing commitment to LGBTQ inclusivity. Harris, addressing a crowd of 14,000, recalled Walz's role in supporting the first Gay-Straight Alliance, that's a GSA, at Mankato West High School in 1999. He helped the so-called winless football team win a state championship.
Coach Walz was approached by a student in his social studies class. The young man was one of the first openly gay students at the school and was hoping to start a gay-straight alliance. At a time when acceptance was difficult to find for LGBTQ students, Tim knew the signal that it would send to have a football coach get involved. So he signed up to be the group's faculty advisor. And as students have said, he made this school a safe place for everybody.
Jacob Rattan, a gay former student who faced bullying, praised Walz's impact, saying, quote, both Tim and Gwen, Tim's wife, were incredibly supportive of their gay students. They modeled values of inclusivity and respect that helped not just me, I was bullied in high school, but also, I think, it helped the bully. It showed the bully a better path forward, end quote. Harris highlighted Walz's lasting influence, noting that students had voted him most inspiring faculty member in the high school yearbook. She concluded, quote, Walz was the kind of teacher and mentor that every child in America dreams of having, quote, and promised that that would bring the same spirit of inclusivity and inspiration to the vice presidency. Ooh, this story gives me chills. There's something, I love the way she framed it too, because I have to say, like, I'm sure on some level, all of us have had some experience of this. Like, my high school coach, pretty homophobic. Like,
Yes,
I mean, in no uncleared ways. Like, this was not someone I can imagine coming up to me and being like, hey, Julio, why don't we open a GSA? Like, I did not have a GSA, right? And I'm a woman of a certain age, and I'm not, that is like, I don't know. Also 1999.
Right.
Yes.
Like, it's really hard for younger generations to appreciate that, but GSAs were really rare in the 90s.
Oh my God.
There's something really path-breaking about that.
We had a GSA. It was called the theater department.
That's right.
Tim Walz is the anti-Vance. There is no buyer's remorse at all on the Harris Walz ticket.
No. And, as you said, he's definitely before his time. 1999, that wasn't a comfortable time in many schools. I mean, and for a football coach to come forward and be willing to step up as an advisor is pretty significant. At first, I'll tell you this, I was not a Tim Walz fan at first. I didn't know much about him. And, I was thinking politically about the future of the Democratic Party and really trying to beat Trump. My favorite was actually the governor of Kentucky, Bashir, Governor Bashir, only because he was younger and I felt like, he can keep the momentum up with, Vice President Harris, and that, he's from a state that's red and he won re-election by 5 points, which is like winning 20 points in another state. And so I really thought that, he was a better choice. But as I learned more about Tim Walz and this story for me, like I was choking up, the fact that, he did this in 1999, just a man before his time. But then as you learn more and more about his story and who he is and what he's done and how he stood up for different marginalized groups, I become more comfortable with him. And then just seeing them together, seeing the chemistry, but also seeing the command that she has. One of the other things that I thought about, and I'm a political scientist, right, amongst being a therapist as well, but I started to think about the social psychology of middle of America and whether people would be able to vote for a woman who had a white male as the second in command. And I no longer am afraid of that, right? I'm no longer worried about middle of America because their chemistry just works. It just feels so great. And she has command. Yeah. Her presence is very presidential. And he didn't overshadow her. And that was my fear, was that he was going to he does not overshadow her. You can tell that he knows his role. He knows what he's there to do. And he's been performing that role ever since the announcement.
And it's presidential in a way that she wasn't when she ran the first time. She's really coming to her.
No, she's coming to her own. So I'm excited about him. And I think that story, and the fact that that was a highlight of her announcement, right?
Yeah,
talking about gay issues. Yeah. I think it's pretty significant for our community, and it's a win for our community. And I love it. I love it. This is just
beautiful
great.
Story. Well said.
Yeah, very well said. And I would also add on to it. It's just nice how compatible they are, and just how just the smallest things could like really make an impact on like certain communities out there, and seeing people come forward, and having someone like helping you feel seen, and especially in a football team. Like,
right.
It's very great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, you can't argue with a guy who was governor and making lunch and meals accessible to children, right? Like,
No.
Who could argue with that?
Absolutely.
He's a hero.
Come on. But no, he is a hero, and especially a hero for our community.
Well said.
He stands with us.
Now, let's queer up politics. State candidate Don't Be Weak and Gay Valentina Gomez almost last in GOP primary.
In America, you can be anything you want. So don't be weak and gay. Stay hard.
Children, Valentina.
Wow. Valentina Gomez, who campaigned for Missouri Secretary of State with a platform centered around her anti-LGBTQ rhetoric, placed 6th out of 8 candidates in the GOP primary. Gomez's campaign garnered national media attention for its controversial stances and provocative tactics. Her campaign slogan, "Don't be weak and gay," and the frequent use of derogatory language against LGBTQ individuals drew widespread condemnation, but she did not stop. Her campaign was marked by extreme measures, including a video where she used a flamethrower to destroy LGBTQ books. There are instances of using anti-LGBTQ slurs on social media. As the primary approached, Gomez's rhetoric became even more inflammatory, including derogatory comments about Vice President Kamala Harris and Democrats. She called Harris an Indian hoe and said Democrats are gay, vaccinated, and cannot reproduce. But these tactics did not translate into primary votes. In addition to her poor primary performance, Gomez's campaign negatively impacted her personal life, including the loss of her job at Purina Dog Food and her brother's job with the Democratic mayor of Jersey City due to his campaign donation. Since the election, Gomez has not made any further public statements. In my opinion, Valentina Gomez is one gun-cleaning mishap away from making the planet a better, safer, and happier place. And by the way, it's too bad her man can't stay fucking hard when he's with her either. I'm done.
You got more jokes.
Greg, that's great. How do you top Greg Shapiro? I don't know. But I mean, it's I have a lot to say about this, but I don't want to go low because when they go low, we go high, right? But I find it so ironic that somebody, her for a background, running a place like Missouri, and I don't want to take it here, but like I'm going to take it with her accent. I'm sorry. Yeah. Is that like critical of our community and critical of and calling Kamala Harris an Indian hoe? Like, I mean, I just find it very appalling. It just amazes me here. And this had major implications not for just her personal life, but her brother as well, who actually was working in New Jersey for and appointed on the LGBT committee, and he donated after that video, which what got him fired. And yes, it's his sister, but he condoned this behavior. And just shame on her. Shame on anyone who is running for public office and claiming that they're representing the people, right? And is spewing hate like this. But it just stems from the top, right? It stems from,
he who shall not be named.
Nationally and in our state as well. It's a shame, though.
Well said, though. I appreciate that, and it betrays so much of her experience too. That is like in so many other spaces, she would be criticized for X, Y, or Z. I appreciate you saying that because it's true, right? Like, and that is for her not to understand the minoritized positions of others really seems to betray her own lived experience. I imagine, right? But is the illusion of being led into a club and then kind of abandoning everyone else when you kind of close the door behind you is. But anyway, what I want to stress here, 6. That is like the people spoke and the people were like, sit down, girl.
But who were those people?
Right. Well, they let you in a club and rejected you.
Yeah, right.
They completely rejected you, right? They gave you a little opening and they said, nah, you're not like us. I'm sorry.
Right.
But you can go out there and spew our hate.
We'll
let you
we
be.
Can use you
we can use you that
way.
way. And shame.
And I'm happy that the people of Missouri kind of like saw through just the hateful rhetoric that she was spewing. And for me, it was like, also, I looked on her Instagram account this morning, and I guess she just deleted it. So I was like, okay, maybe she's a little embarrassed.
Breaking news.
I don't think. I think she's embarrassed by the results, but not embarrassed by the video. I think but I'm sure her brother is ashamed as well. I mean, the fact that he was appointed by the mayor of Jersey City and he was on his committee, I'm sure he does connect with our community. And being in New Jersey, very close to New York City, we're all over the place. I think I've even seen him on Grindr before, to be honest with you. And
Oh my.
that's another story.
Breaking news.
That's breaking news. Well, next, let's queer up students and youth culture. This high school's new school year begins with no library because of book banning. Green Hill High School in Wilson County, Tennessee, has shut down its library due to recent changes in the state's book banning legislation. As reported by Nashville Fox affiliate WZTV, the school is closing its library ahead of the 2024-25 school year to review its collection for compliance with HB 843, which took effect on July 1st. HB 843 amends the Age Appropriate Materials Act, originally signed into law by Governor Bill Lee in 2022. The revised law, according to the ACLU of Tennessee, prohibits K-12 students from accessing books with nudity or descriptions or depictions of sexual excitement, sexual conduct, excessive violence. This new definition raises concerns that classic literature and other valuable educational materials might also be banned. State Senator Jeff Yarborough has criticized the bill, suggesting its restrictions could even affect the Bible, which contains explicit content. Erica Long, Legislative Committee Chair for the Tennessee Library Association, has warned that the law could remove essential educational resources, such as anatomy books and those on puberty. Many have condemned the law as unconstitutional and detrimental to students. The closing of the library at Green Hill High School is part of broader national concerns over book bans targeting LGBTQ and minority authors. I mean, I think we've seen this right here in Florida, right? Where, the governor has banned books in our K-12 system. It's a shame. I mean, we're just trying to take away education from people, right? Yeah. And, for a party who believes in hands off, right? The government shouldn't be in our business. They have increased the size of government because they want to be in all of our private businesses. They want to be all over, right? The irony of who they say they are, but yet what they actually do. I'll say this, at Pride Lines, we are glad that Penn America and others have donated banned books to us. We have hundreds of banned books right in our library. And I love this because I was a little jaded about libraries in this digital age, but people actually come to our center, get a book, and they just sit and read. And people take out books, and I'm like, what? This is 2024. People are actually doing this, but it's happening. So we're proud of our collection.
As a state that ranks 37th in literacy rates, you'd think they'd want to keep all the school libraries open. maybe Dolly Parton needs to step in with her imagination library.
Yes.
They're also the state of the Scopes trial,
right.
Like they're the ones
my
who were trying to
gosh.
ban, and well, they were the ones who went all the way to like the courts to ban, teaching of evolution.
Right.
Right.
I mean, it's been a minute, like it's 100 years, but still, I love this point. Like, and I actually do want to highlight that because that's kind of where my mind went too. Is how many great cultural institutions at the local level are actually stepping in the absence of state support. So sometimes they're, local, LGBT centers, Black centers and immigration centers that are often like doing like teaching Black history and then teaching LGBT in the absence of government spaces. And like that is so. PEN America is killing it. That is thank you to PEN America for the great work that they're doing. As like censored, I mean, this is what they want. Right. The laws are written in such a way as to kind of provoke so much fear, right? To kind of be like, well, then all books are banned. No more reading. No more reading. Like, let's just like, this is exactly the goal.
Yeah.
It's this de-intellectualizing of American society, right? I mean, it became taboo when Trump first ran 8 years ago to have a degree, to be smart, to anti-intellectual, and this is what we're doing. What are we teaching our kids to not read? I mean, they're going to confront these materials, right? And we're talking a high school here. We're not even talking, elementary school where these books exist. We're talking a high school in this case, and it's a shame.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to go to the Wilton Manors Library earlier this summer. And they had a wonderful display on some of the books that are banned. And I was horrified when I saw Charlotte's Web, To Kill a Mockingbird. And now we have this. It's crazy. It really
we're talking classics, right?
Yes.
Coming of age books.
The amount of control that the right wants is out of, just unspeakable.
Yet it's the left, right? The left is too much into your business, but look at their policies.
Yeah.
Take us away, Nico.
Next, let's clear up students and youth culture. Utah, first state to implement universal list of banned books. Utah has made history as the first state to impose a complete ban on specific books across all schools. The sweeping measure aligns with a new law which took effect on July 1st. The law mandates local education agencies to prioritize protecting children from the harmful effects of the illicit pornography. This directive removes the discretion of teachers, librarians, and administrators to assess books based on their artistic, cultural, or educational value. Under the new rule, any book depicting sex or masturbation must be removed. Notifications to the state board are required when books are banned by at least 3 school districts or 2 districts and 5 charter schools. Banned books include names like Sarah J. Maas's A Court of Thorns and Roses, Judy Blume's Forever, and Margaret Atwood's Oryx and Crake, among others. PEN America has sharply criticized the move, calling it, quote, a dark day for the freedom to read in Utah, end quote. PEN says, quote, the state's no-read list will impose a dystopian censorship regimen across public schools, end quote. Wow. Okay, so my thoughts, I feel as if, like, although there are books about, like, masturbation or pornography, like, and getting rid of that, I think that's important, maybe. But at the same time, it's like how far our school systems and legislation are, like, it's going to create this loophole when it comes to, like, gay books or, other things. So who determines that,
It's a red herring, right? Like that is like at the kind. You're right, Nico. Like that is. I mean, at the kind of. It's hard to be like, oh, like against the idea that like sexually explicit. Like no one's arguing for having like porn in like library spaces, right? Like that's not what the argument is.
No.
The thing is that it's kind of code for barring ideas of gender, ideas of diversity, 100%, right? Like this is not. It's not even code. It's like it's just is.
It is very explicit.
Judy Blume. Like I mean, like
Unbelievable.
what's scary about Margaret Atwood? Like by the way, Margaret Atwood is the one who wrote *Handmaid's Tale*, right? Like I mean, like they're scared that like these are it's going to get people to think, and like this is what is dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, and not thinking, I'll bet the Book of Mormon is still readily available. Have you ever had your book banned? Is your book been banned?
I mean, I would feel I'm not going to say what I'm going to say. Not that I know of.
Okay.
But to be fair, it's like it's not.
Kind of a badge of honor.
It's a badge of honor.
It isn't a.
That's actually what I wanted.
It is a badge of honor, right?
Yes. Ban my books, please.
Ban Julio's
Ban my
book.
book. But maybe, I don't know.
No, but I think going back to the point though is that this is again going back to the previous story, this anti-intellectualism, but books allow you to explore it. It allows you to become imaginative. You learn, you grow with it, you get exposed to different cultures and different ideas, and this is exactly what it's against. It doesn't want people to think. It doesn't want people to have this imagination about the world. I was like in third grade, and once I got exposed to, I just loved reading it, and I loved learning it, and I loved like fantasy and sci-fi. I just loved it all. It was just so exciting. I mean, it's just, we're not talking porn here, right? Like,
No.
book is not about porn. It's not about porn. We don't want porn, right? Like, go to the men's bookstore, the red light bookstore, right?
Yeah.
That's not what this is about,
No,
It's
and it teaches tolerance at an early age.
right.
I mean, to respect other people's opinions, even if they're not your own. And,
I love that. Yeah.
You know,
In
it's-
powerful ways, like in
Absolutely.
fables, and in ways that, like in metaphor, like I mean, it advances us as a society, right? Like in no unclear terms, that's what it does, and that's what they don't want.
Well,
Like,
for
it's
people
not-
who are so obsessed with morality, these books that have morals of value, they don't even want to have them in there. They don't want to have people reading them.
Well, next, let's queer up politics. New book talks about VP Kamala Harris's commitment to LGBTQ on the global platform. In Dr. Ni Quirle Cortez' new book, Kamala, The Motherland and Me, he details a pivotal moment from Vice President Kamala Harris's historic 2023 tour of Ghana, Tanzania, and Zambia. The book provides an inside look at Harris's leadership on the world stage during this 9-day international trip. At a joint press conference with Ghanaian President Akufo-Addo, anticipation surged as reporters waited for the vice president's response to sensitive topics. She addressed different issues from economic development, climate change, and investments to foreign policies. However, her response to one particular question showed the kind of leader Harris is. The New York Times White House correspondent at the press conference, Zolan Kano-Youngs, raised a question about Ghana's proposed anti-LGBT legislation, specifically a bill that would criminalize same-sex intercourse. Despite visible disapproval from the Ghanaian delegation, Harris responded with unwavering clarity. She said, quote, "I'll start. I have raised this issue, and let me be clear about where I stand. A great deal of work in my career has been to address human rights issues and equality issues across the board, including as it relates to the LGBTQ+ community," end quote. She also emphasized that supporting fundamental human rights issues is a priority for her and the Biden administration. The book has been launched at the right time as Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris is fighting against far-right former President Donald Trump in the 2024 presidential election. Her confidence, leadership, and people's trust in her will get a newfound boost from this book. Well, what do you think? I mean, I think she's on track. She's on fire, and I'm excited.
You know, one of the things I like about this story, I appreciate that, Larry, is really it's leadership. Like that's what it is. Like it's you can't change people's minds overnight. It takes leadership. It takes real like ambassadorship, right? Like diplomacy, right? Yes. And this is what to kind of have a firm stance and make clear where you stand and why you stand in this way and in this kind of non-ideological way. It's paving a path, and I think that's really important with respecting sovereignty, right? Like this to me is leadership, and that is, if anything, what we need is leadership, and she is it.
Right. Imagine Trump in that role.
No.
Oh my God.
Just babbling on like the moron that he is.
Yeah, in light of her, her presidential bid, and, talks about whether, global leaders will respect her or not. Talk about like her just like standing up for what she believes in,
well said.
On a global stage. As to your point, Leo, like this is leadership, and she showed leadership, and kudos to her for standing up for her principles.
Yes.
And I think she couldn't have said it any better, you know. Some people would probably took a more PC approach to it, you know, and you know, because they're in somebody else's country, but she didn't. She hammered it. This is my position, and this is our position as an administration, and so very bold, you know, very leader. Like that is a global leader, you know, again, to your point, while respecting their sovereignty as well as a country. And, you know, I've traveled, I studied a little bit of Ghana and Ghanaian politics. And so, you know, it was interesting that they've introduced this bill because actually Ghana has been one of the most stablest democracies on the continent of Africa. And so they're still culturally, you know, very respectful of their culture. However, they've been a little bit more progressive than some of the other African countries. So I'm a little shocked that they had proposed such a bill only because of how progressive they've been. And they've been very stable. They have not had any international or internal wars or anything like that. It's been over 60 years now, a stable, pretty stable democracy. So pretty shocked about the story.
Next, let's queer up travel. Visit Lauderdale invites you to its bar fight. The Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival will conduct Bar Fight, a spirited competition, on Wednesday, January 15, 2025, at Rooftop at 1 WLO. This exciting event will feature local mixologists going head-to-head to create the official cocktail of the 2025 festival. Participants will be judged on presentation, flavor, and concept by a panel of local celebrity judges. In the first round, guests will sample 2 cocktails from each mixologist and vote for their favorite. The fan favorite cocktails will then advance to the final round, where judges will select the winner and announce it as the official cocktail of 2025 Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival. The highlight of the festival will be the participation of mixologist Diego Calvo, the 2024 champion. He will be competing to defend his title. Nice. Tickets for the event are $50, and event day price will be $99. More details can be found at vlfoodwine.com.
Let's queer up travel. We invite you to join us on Savannah's St. Patrick's Parade and Georgia's Golden Owls Tour. Hotspots Happening Out's nonprofit Happening Travel Club proudly announces the Savannah St. Patrick's Day and Golden Islands of Georgia Tour, a 4-day adventure supporting a nonprofit mission. The LGBTQ tour departs on March 15, 2025 from Florida to Brunswick, with motor coach transportation available from over 20 Florida cities. For just $469 per person, with an interest-free $49 month payment plan, you will explore Savannah's historic district and the Golden Islands during peak spring blooms. Highlights include reserved seating for Savannah's renowned St. Patrick's Day Parade, a guided tour of Jekyll Islands, Millionaires Village, and St. Simeon's Islands, Fort Frederica. You can choose first class or deluxe accommodations. Don't miss this unique educational travel experience that combines exploration with supporting a great cause of our media nonprofit mission. Additional details and reservations can be found on happeningout.travel. Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
Now, we finish tonight's queer news headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ+ 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ+ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up the world view. Unauthorized gay pride rally organizer jailed in Moscow. The organizer of an unauthorized gay pride rally in Moscow, Nikolai Alexeyev, was jailed for 10 days, along with activists Yevgeny Gerasimov and Vadim Gruzdev for disobeying police. Alexeyev was detained during a brief protest outside the Moscow mayor's office, where he rode past the mayor's office on a quad bike adorned with a rainbow flag and an orange smoke flare. The rally was also countered by 30 nationalists who hurled eggs and attacked the activists. The mayor's office had denied permission for the rally, and a court also rejected the appeal. Alexeyev then tweeted saying, quote, "The court hearing was a farce," quote. Well, you can call it Russia, but this is further proof that it will always and forever be the Soviet Union.
Mm-hmm.
So hard to watch.
No,
It is.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's unfortunate, but kudos to the activists. Like, listen,
Yes.
they continue to go on. The bravery, the courage,
Sure. Yes.
despite he's well aware of the repercussions in a place like Russia, and far worse has been done to people than thrown in jail for 10 days in that country. So, kudos to him for just standing up for our community.
Well said.
I love it.
Very well said.
He's my hero of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good trouble.
Absolutely.
LGBTQ+, 1 Minute News, let's queer up sports. Trailblazing gay Major League Baseball star Billy Beane dies at 59. Billy Beane, the pioneer baseball player who came out as gay, died on Tuesday, August 6, after battling acute myeloma leukemia. Beane, born in Santa Ana, California, made an impressive debut with the Tigers, tying a record with a 4-hit performance. He gradually came out in the late 1990s. In one statement, he said, quote, "For 9 years, I felt as though I had one foot in the major leagues and one on a banana peel," end quote, expressing concerns about embarrassing his family and team. Though some athletes still have to face homophobia, Beane's legacy continues to inspire others to be their authentic selves. It's unfortunate of his death. And I remember what it was like to be in a closet and kind of feel one foot in and one foot out, and worried about, my father, who was from South Carolina, and embarrassing him and his family's name, as I'm Edward Summers III, actually, but I don't carry the third. But so I get it. But kudos to him for coming out and being proud of who he is, and he's really set the pathway for so many others. And look at the Olympics, so many people are open in their authentic selves, and it's because of people like Billy Beane.
A true queer groundbreaker.
A trailblazer. He helped form parts of, he worked a lot of with diversity inclusion in big spaces like the MLB, and he helped create, even he was a big part of the creation of our local LGBT softball league, and he's been involved. He did a lot of that kind of work in the community. Sports,
And I love the impact that he last for the MLB Major League Baseball team, and just being the first gay pioneer.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up the world view. Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo defends Olympic ceremony and drops some F-bombs on haters. Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo fiercely defended the 2024 Olympic Summer Games' opening ceremonies against conservative critics who accused it of, quote, mocking Christianity. Critics targeted a segment featuring a lesbian DJ and drag performers, claiming it resembled The Last Supper. Hidalgo bluntly responded, and I quote, "Fuck the reactionaries, fuck this far right, fuck all of those who would like to lock us into a war of all against all," end quote. She also expressed pride in how the ceremony showcased Paris. What do we even say about this? I mean,
fuck them.
I got to say that in a story.
Fuck the reactionaries, fuck this far right, fuck all of those who would like to lock us into a war of all against all. I could not have said it better myself.
Well said.
Viva la France.
Yeah.
Viva
Yes.
la France. Well said, y'all.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up sports. Anthony Ammirati, viral Olympic bulging moment gets him a six-figure adult content offer. French pole vaulter Anthony Ammirati went viral this week with videos showing his prominent bulge costing him a medal at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Despite the loss, Ammirati's Instagram followers skyrocketed, and now Camp Soda, a live streaming platform for adult content, has reportedly offered him $250,000 for a 1-hour camp show. A letter obtained by US Weekly states, quote, "Although you didn't bring home the gold medal, you can still capture the gold from your fans via Camp Soda. That has to count for something, right? Plus, you won't have those restrictive compression shorts holding you back," end quote. I mean, it definitely made a point. I'm tuning in.
I'm not saying I'm not going to watch it.
Well, he has his options open.
Well, he's certainly given pole vaulting a whole new meaning.
without the pole.
Right.
Can use his own.
All right, Larry, take us away.
Take it away. And this is today's news for the LGBTQ community on the world's first and only daily queer evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Julio Capo Jr., and on behalf of these awesome LGBTQ reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Dr. Edward Summers, Greg Shapiro, Nico Callis, and Larry Farver, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our queer world, we wish you good night.
Good night.